Hopkins. Here, waiting for Jackson. I'm going to explode. Deandra texted back, "You have to tell me everything." Later, Joy replied, "Or maybe tomorrow, depending on how it goes." Wink emoji. It was the last text Joy Ruiz ever sent, and it was the last day anyone saw her alive. It turned out that Jackson Rome was not, in fact, a 24-year-old graduate student at the Virtual University of Austin, but rather a 44-year-old divorced father of 3 named Harold Waltermeyer, who had illegally duplicated the wrap, or avatar, of a Swedish fitness model named Anders Wiklund, which he'd worn during his meetings with Joy inside Earth Plus. Waltermeyer's attorneys successfully argued, in what turned out to be a landmark, precedent-setting case, that encounters between Waltermeyer and Ruiz were digital rather than physical. Ruiz's rap was not, in fact, Ruiz herself, and while rap fraud was a Class D felony, Waltermeyer did not face any charges of sexual misconduct. Security footage from Carafe showed Waltermeyer entering Carafe at 7:55 and introducing himself to Ruiz. Within moments, Ruiz and Waltermeyer were having a heated argument, Ruiz clearly expecting Waltermeyer to look like a chiseled 24-year-old and not a paunchy, balding, middle-aged man. 5 minutes and 40 seconds after arriving at Carafe, Ruiz wiped tears from her eyes, slapped Waltermeyer across the left cheek, and left. Ruiz had been wearing an onyx ring, which left a slight laceration just below Waltermeyer's cheekbone. Waltermeyer remained at Carafe for 8 minutes after Ruiz left. In that time, he finished a glass of bourbon and dabbed at the cut on his face with a wet napkin. He then paid his tab and left the bar. Joy never made it home. Harold Waltermeyer had been the primary suspect in Joy's disappearance from the start. He was convicted of rap fraud and given a 3-month suspended sentence, barred from altering his rap inside Earth Plus, and fined $10,000. In the end, Waltermeyer, who had conned Joy Ruiz into both a sexual and emotional relationship, was fined 2.8% of his annual salary, spent no time in prison, and kept his job. Joy's body was never found. As the investigation into Joy's disappearance stalled, the public, believing Waltermeyer's guilt, grew restless. But there was one large problem. Despite being a world-class scumbag, Harold Waltermeyer was innocent of Joy's murder. Security cameras showed that upon leaving Carafe, Waltermeyer went directly to his car. The GPS confirmed that Waltermeyer made no stops prior to arriving home. The EPP subpoenaed Waltermeyer's Earth Plus activity log, which confirmed Waltermeyer's testimony that 9 minutes after arriving home, he rented a lockbox where he engaged in virtual sex with an augmented persona prostitute named Laffy Taffy, for which he paid $500. Waltermeyer's neighbor, Bernice Hopkins, testified to seeing Waltermeyer through a partially drawn window shade, wearing his Earth Plus visor, and nothing else. And so, 3 years later, with no suspects and no leads, Cassie West sat inside a lockbox with Joy's mother, father, and brother, all of whom had endured unimaginable pain, not only to have lost their daughter, but still to be waiting for closure that might never come. Having exhausted all their legal options and drained their savings, the Ruiz family was depending on Cassie, both to keep the memory of their daughter alive and to throw their family a financial lifeline. For the past 9 years, Cassie had worked as a licensing agent for Vice, the preeminent licensor of true crimes for entertainment and multimedia within both Earth Plus and Earth Minus. Billions of dollars were spent on true crime licensing every year. Nearly every murder, every disappearance, every notorious grift or tawdry swindle could be monetized, with revenues from the thousands to hundreds of millions, depending on earning potential and the cultural relevance of the case. Cassie believed Joy's disappearance could spark multiple bidders across the crime entertainment spectrum, and both the Ruiz and the West families needed that money badly. All Vice lockboxes were coded to be soothing: neutral gray walls, white moldings, a crackling fireplace, windows overlooking a realistic stream. Angel and Carmen Ruiz held hands. Their son Hector, 17, hadn't said a word since they entered the lockbox. Angel and Carmen looked hopeful. Hector looked angry. "So, how exactly does it work?" Carmen asked, gesturing at the tablet in front of Cassie. "Your company just decides how much our family is worth?" Cassie offered a sympathetic smile. "Life is priceless," Cassie said with practiced sympathy.